in the Midwest. Or East? Mid-East? That are having... Look like it's okay. I always speak too soon, and then I see it drop. All right. We'll let it be, and we'll try. We'll try. Yeah, it looks clean on my end too, but we just know hiccups are gonna come. Like I said, if it does start to hiccup and it does start to drop, I won't even stop talking. Again, you guys can watch it back if you want to. It should go on stream without the, maybe I should just record it just in case it does go on YouTube and it is choppy for some reason. YouTube usually does a good job with it though. If I do have lag, unless I fully disconnect, you guys would be able to watch it fine. But I think I should record it just to be sure, and then I'll just upload it if I see anything wrong with the stream. That way you guys can get best of both worlds. I think that's a smart idea. So we're gonna do that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I hope you guys are having a great day. I will chop off this first 5 minutes of the stream. You guys won't see it in the replay if you guys watch it. It'll be chopped off and we'll be starting basically now. Okay. Let's do it up. As you guys know, I do stream on YouTube and I stream on Twitch, so you guys can watch wherever you guys would like to watch, but we're going to be getting started here. So, if you guys are interested in what are the best characters to climb with for your rank, this is the stream for you. We're going to be going through bronze to diamond, so that's going to be one lump sum. People are like, why do you lump bronze and diamond together? It's generally because the skill is not that different. And you might be thinking, well, if I'm a bronze player versus a diamond player, it's definitely different. From bronze to diamond, you don't really learn much. It's just more about how good you are at doing what you're doing. It's not necessarily learning a lot of intricacies. You know what I mean? So if a Thor player is bronze and a Thor player is diamond, the only real difference is probably something like timing or something like, it's nothing major. Once you start hitting Grandmaster, that's where the shift from Diamond to Grandmaster, that's where you start learning how to play Marvel Rivals accurately. And then from there, from Grandmaster to Celestial, you're honing it in, you're fine-tuning it. So that we're going to have Grandmaster to Celestial. That'll be its own category. And then we're going to have Eternity to OneAboveAll. So to reach those ranks, you're going to have to really hone in and learn even more specifications to what you're trying to do. So that way you can get an edge over your team or over the enemy team. Because by that point, everybody's generally the same skill level anyway. And little edges and nudges are what you use to win. So we're going to be doing all of that, but of course we're going to be starting with bronze to diamond. I will be reading the chat, of course, so you guys can be saying whatever you want to say in the chat. Depending on what is said and if it derails the entire conversation, I probably won't respond because I want to make sure that we're flowing through pretty quick and pretty simple. Just a real quick rule set before we get started. This is going to be a tier list based off solo play or duo, trio possibly. Some people are like, this character is amazing. It's like, well, it's not when you're not playing with the stack or when you're not playing with 4 people and sometimes even a trio. So if you're someone who's like, I don't use comms, bro. I don't like to play with anybody. I like to solo queue. I have a friend that I play with every now and then, but like if you're someone like that, this tier list is great for you. If you're someone like, well, we have a team of 4, we have a team of 6, and we like to, well, it could help, but you're not going to have the same experience as someone who doesn't communicate with their team or someone who has limited communication because they don't want to talk to you, stuff like that. So these are going to be the characters that are going to be the best that I think to climb for each rank. Let's go ahead and hop into practice. And here we go. We're also going to be focusing on 2-2-2-2, not 3 healers, 3 tanks, blah, 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 blah. Wow, that loaded really quick. Bro, SSD gaming. You don't know, I used to play the game on my HHD, so my hard drive, or my HDD. Hard disk drive, HDD. I used to run it on there for no reason. I had an SSD, I just never put it on there. So every time I did it, it would load extremely slow. But I have it on my SSD now, so we'll probably be able to load things a lot quicker. All right, so first things first, let's start with Adam Warlock. If you guys ever want to know what I'm talking about, it'll be on the screen. So starting with Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock for Bronze to Diamond. Honestly, he is not... I'm going to give my full opinion and then I'm going to place it. I'm going to do that for all the characters, okay? So my full opinion and then I'm going to place it per rank. Honestly, Adam Warlock, I feel like is in a pretty decent spot, even for a 2-2-2. You guys seen on my stream that I played him pretty frequently and my win rate was pretty high unless people decided to troll before the match started because they didn't like Adam Warlock. Is what it is. But honestly, I actually think the character is pretty solid. What makes this character a problem is because a lot of players don't know how to utilize his ult properly, and a lot of players they're conditioned by now. Like once you start climbing from Bronze to Diamond, you'll start noticing the strats are conditioned to either ult right after each other, or they'll ult to start a fight, or they'll just, they'll do something random. But there's not really a lot of thought put into when they ult. This is mainly because a lot of ults aren't punished. Luna's ult lasts for 3 years. Cloak and Dagger's ult lasts for 3 years. Invisible Woman's ult lasts for 3 years. Mantis, she has a little bit more challenging ult to use, you know what I mean? But basically, a lot of these strat ults can be fired off, no problem, and it's very hard to punish. With Adam Warlocks, not only does he tell you exactly where he's spawning everybody, unless you know how to play it properly, it's also just not... There's room for error. There's a lot of room for error. So it's not necessarily about, is this character bad and his healings are bad and blah, 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 because he's actually a really solid character for what they're trying to design, but it's just how players use him is the problem. He has a very, very high skill floor, and it's with managing your cooldowns, it's with managing your ultimate. You have to know how to use every single thing, and on top of that, you need to know how to land your shots to recharge your heal. If they would like to dumb him down, what they could do is give him an additional charge of heal, but for the most part, this character is just way too hard for this rank, and there's too many things to learn to play this character. So for right now, I would just say that he's outclassed. There's not really a reason to play this character. You're going to be disappointed. And unless you... Look, if you truly love Adam Warlock, play him. But if you're like, bro, I'm just trying to gain rank, I don't care who I play, bro. I'll play Jeff. Well, then, don't play him. I'm telling you right now, it is not worth it unless you just genuinely love the character. As you guys know, I climbed with all 3 roles, and I climbed both on PC and console. I'm telling you right now, I actually love this character, and I played him when I climbed him. I have video footage of that, and I have stream footage of that. I love the character, but I also know that I'm basically smurfing when I do that, and I know a lot more about the game than the people that are in this rank trying to learn more and climb. Not worth playing the character right now. I would definitely leave him alone. Black Panther. So Black Panther actually got a buff this season, and it wasn't drastic. Well, it was kind of drastic, but it wasn't drastic. So the buff that he got was 50% damage reduction. I believe it was 50%, or maybe it was 75. I think it was 50. When he ults, that whole startup animation, he gets damage reduction. So that means he's not going to be one shot, because he sits still when he does that. The other thing that he got was damage to his spear, I believe, and I think it's 25 damage. What all this means is that it's easier for him to execute his plan. So it's easier for him to get KOs because it's a higher damage threshold now. And it's easier for him to be able to set up his ultimate because he's not going to get one shot should he stop. This is not something that these ranks have to deal with. This is something that higher ranks have to deal with. So honestly, this change isn't much for Bronze to Diamond. He plays generally the same. And what makes this character a problem is because it requires so many resources to take care of this character, when Black Panthers generally only have to do this. Throw a spear, dash, flip your camera, throw another spear if you would like, dash, flip your camera, do your spin kick, dash, pretty much. Now with the buff, he actually can get you... I'm pretty sure he could KO you with a spear and a spin kick. So let me see real quick. We tested this on stream during the patch, but I don't remember exactly what I said. So I think if you do this... they survive with a little bit of HP, right? But with this buff, he's able to actually secure it if he can land the spin. So what he will do... I don't actually know if this is the buff specific. Black Panther mans will tell you. But with the buff that I've noticed is that if you spin kick, you actually get the KO. So it's a lot quicker that way. And it's a lot more for sure of a KO. I don't know how much it is on a 300 HP target. Let's check. I think Wolf has 300 HP. Or maybe it's 350. What does he have? Yes, 350. All right. I don't actually think he can one bang a 350 target. It'd probably be 300. But let's see. So I'm just kind of... Yeah, I didn't think so. That'd be ridiculous. But I'm pretty sure you would one bang a 300 target. But not many healers are 300. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. And not many DPS are 300. So basically this means that as long as he lands that spin kick, he has a for sure KO. He might have to dash again if they get pocketed. But for the most part, the guy will be able to get the KO. What makes him a problem is mainly the fact that... what makes him a problem is mainly the fact that he's very, very hard to deal with. He moves around a lot. It's a very difficult thing to handle. Also, I just realized I didn't record, so I'm going to record. And I'm going to start now, just in case I have to put it on my YouTube channel, should connections go haywire. We already placed Adam. We talked about Adam. Now we're going to be placing Black Panther. What we said with Adam is just he's not worth playing in Bronze and Diamond right now. He's too hard, and there's a lot of things to work on. Regardless, for Black Panther, we talked about how he got his buff, how he has more damage, how he's able to take out targets more consistently. And during his ultimate, his startup animation has reduced damage, which means that he has an easier time playing the game. Why he's so strong in Bronze and Diamond is because a lot of players do not know how to handle things with coordination. A lot of them like to fight 3-4 fights at the same exact time. So Black Panther is able to thrive off that chaos. As he climbs ranks, it does get a little bit more difficult to play the character, but for the most part, even if you are not securing KOs, you're going to make the team struggle. And that is one of the things that helps this character solo climb. So he is definitely a solo carry character. When it comes to Black Widow, this character, she's not bad either. And honestly, if you got really good at her, you would probably climb pretty easily. But that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of game knowledge. It's just not something that you would have. It's not even the fact that she is weak. The character itself is not weak. But it is not a beginner-friendly character, and that's okay. Not every characters are supposed to be. If you're a Bronze and Diamond, that is your beginner-friendly area. You know, you're getting used to Marvel Rivals, you're starting to get better at the game, and that is something that she provides, or that she doesn't provide. She doesn't hold your hand. The thing about Bronze to Diamond is that the way that you win is continuous pressure. It's continuous fighting. It's continuous everything. The reason why she lacks is because she can miss a lot of her shots, which then makes her not have continuous pressure, right? And that means you're not getting ult charge, you're not being able to participate in team fights, and should the fight go south before you can do anything, you're going to lose. It's not worth playing, honestly. I feel like she's just outclassed by a lot of other heroes, and we will be done there. All right. Let's move on to Cap. So Cap just got a buff as well. And his buff was to his Vibranium Saw. So it's this move here. It's now on a 6-second cooldown instead of a 8 seconds, I believe it was before. Now, you guys know I love Cap. I play him a lot. And I always tell you the higher rank you get, the worse this character becomes. That being said, this character is one of those characters that you either do really well or you just suck. And honestly, it's dependent on two factors. The first factor is the player good? And the second factor is the enemy team good? You can't have to have. And honestly, it's very... You can be consistent with your gameplay, but it doesn't actually make it easier for the other two checkboxes that we talked about, which is your team and the enemy team. Now, it's hard for me to really rate this one because I'm very biased. Whenever I play through these ranks, I coast. Like, it's free, but I know how to play the character. Generally, when I play with caps or I have caps on the other team, they don't really do much, and they just kind of exist. And if they're allowed to run wild, they're a problem. If they aren't, they're not. With the amount of CC in this game, with the amount of characters that are being played now, with the amount of 3 strats being played almost consistently, Cap just kind of struggles. And again, unless you play him really, really well, you're going to get one shot by a lot of these players, or a lot of these characters being picked right now. And you're going to be out healed. Now, the one-shot potential thing is I'm not too worried about that because in Bronze and Diamond, people can't aim anyway. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. I played through both. They can't really hit people in that rank. So you kind of get away with it, just similar as Black Panther. But the problem is if there's 3 healers, his KO time frame is his KO window is very small, and a lot of players do not know how to play the game properly or understand when the window is. So there's a lot of missed opportunities. The only thing that he does well is stall. And if every game is a domination match, you're probably going to lose. So I'm going to put him at hit or miss. I love you, dog, but I don't think it's actually that he's bad. I mean, I think he's bad in high ranks, but there's just other options. And unless you really love him, you can play him, but he just plays the game a little bit different from Marvel Rivals. From like the typical Marvel Rivals game. So you don't even understand Marvel Rivals right now in these ranks, and then you want to play a character that doesn't even play the game the same way. Like I don't know. I love you, dog, but I don't think you can get anywhere else. Next, we have Cloak and Dagger. We're not going to talk much about this character. This character is always top dog, and they will make sure that she is top dog. She's very easy to play. She has a lot of damage. She just got buffed. There's no reason to really talk about her at all. This character will remain one of the best characters in the game, no matter what, especially for these ranks. As you get higher and higher, it's easier to abuse her because she's very telegraphed. But again, these are skills that we do not have in these ranks, so it is not worth talking about. We will talk about it in other ranks. The next character that we have is Doctor Strange. So he actually just got a buff. And honestly, it doesn't really change much for this character. Like, it's something, but a lot of the times, if he does decide to jetpack himself to the back of the enemy team, he's going to get KO'd. So, it's something. What we're going to do is we're just going to place them at coast picks. These are the picks that are, if you play them and your team does well, you'll probably win the match. It doesn't really matter how much effort you put in. Solo carries are pretty much the characters that obviously, as long as they're in the game, it becomes 1,000 times harder for the enemy team to win. Hit or miss, they're like, some games they do well, some games they don't. You're probably coin flipping that. And then outclasses, it's not really worth the time. Strange is a very coast-picked character. And the reason being is he doesn't have a lot of carry potential unless you know how to do that. And you wouldn't really be in these ranks if you did. But he's still a great all-around pick. And honestly, even if you are a high-ranked player, it doesn't matter. You need to have Strange in your pocket because this character is necessary. It is a very necessary character to have because he's such a well-rounded character. And he's one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. There's not really much to say more about that character. The character's good. And then once you get better at him, he can straight up solo carry matches. Like, if you get better at this character solo carries until high ranks. Tanks don't really carry that much in high ranks anymore because people know how to play. But in Bronze and Diamond, if you can get better at Strange, this guy will solo carry your matches. Next, we have Groot. I actually played Groot yesterday. So we were going against... I played against this one dude, and he was on the enemy team, and he was playing Hawkeye, and I was playing Cap. And we were winning, and we won the match. The next game, this guy plays Groot. And this was on... I don't know. Oh, it's on Downtown. I think that's what the stage is called. And this guy plays Groot. And my team could not play the game. Like, at all. They just did not understand how to play the game. And I was like, I'm mad. Let me go Groot. If you guys don't know, Groot into Groot on push is hard. It's very hard. The guy is slow. You can wall this guy up. There's not a lot of damage. And on top of that, they had Hela and Hawkeye, 2 characters that are very good at sniping, but snipers are very bad at destroying walls. So you probably understand what happened. Forced the guy to swap after we took 2 points. We just ended up winning the game off of just the fact that he couldn't play into it. That is the point. The point I'm trying to make with this is that if players do not understand what to do, or they pick certain characters that cannot break his walls very quickly, this character dominates, especially on push. Now, when it comes to defense, and he's getting like shoved in and stuff, he can play the game, but it's not. It depends. As always, though, If you know how to play against Groot, Groot is not a problem. If you do not know how to play against Groot, Groot is one of the most OP characters in the game. He also has a very, very good team ultimate that just wipes if people don't pay attention. And of course, in Bronze and Diamond, people don't pay attention. So honestly, the walls, the ult, this makes Groot being able to be easily one of the solo carry tanks. Even if you don't understand what you're doing and you're just walling up and ulting whenever you can, you probably still win your matches, bro. This character is not okay. I would put him under coast picks, but more often than not, the enemy team will not know how to deal with you. And there's some really good maps that makes Groot impossible to play against unless you understand, and you're going to stomp games. All right, next we have Hawkeye. So Hawkeye's very interesting because he actually is a very strong character. The problem with Hawkeye and Bronze and Diamond is players do not understand what target priority is. And so they come out of matches, even in Grandmaster too. I feel like they still haven't learned it by Grandmaster, but they come out of matches feeling like, well, I got 20 KOs, bro. I got 30, I got 40, I got this, I got that, and we lose. The game's EOMM, the game sucks, my team sucks, I don't know how to carry it. It's because you don't understand what you're shooting at and why. When you learn target priority, that's when these characters become dangerous. When you don't know target priority and you just go for the KOs, that's when these characters become very weak and you will lose matches regardless of what your stat line is. Because of this, because we're still learning, I honestly do not think Hawkeye is that great in these ranks. Even though I do think he's a great character, he's not that great in these ranks, because it requires game knowledge and you just don't have it. Now, if you get pocketed and people just play with you, you have an easier time winning. But if you're trying to straight up solo carry a match and you don't understand what you should be shooting at and win, and all you focus on is getting KOs, you're probably not going to win the match. So we're going to put him at hit or miss. Some games you're going to pop off, some games you're not. Hella's a little bit different. The reason why I say this is because her ultimate is pretty dangerous compared to Hawkeye's. I mean, Hawkeye has a great ultimate too, don't get me wrong, but her ultimate is a little bit easier to use than Hawkeye's, in my opinion. And she can wipe fights pretty easily. The thing is, though, as Hawkeye, she's very single target oriented, which means that you need to make sure you're landing the right shots at the right time. And unless you are smurfing, you probably are doing the same thing that we said with Hawkeye, which is your target priority is not good. And a lot of players think that they have really good target priority, but almost every single one that is, almost every single one that plays Hella or Hawkeye, and they're like, Poppin', I can't carry, my games are so hard, and you know, they want VOD reviews or they want coaching. If you want coaching, link in the description below. If you want free VOD reviews, make sure you go to my Discord, because we're going to be doing those tomorrow, every Saturday. We'll be going over them and they're free. Whenever I do coaching or replay reviews, they swear up and down that they're playing amazing, and then we look and it's like, well, your target priority is down. You don't really understand what you're shooting at and why. You're just getting KOs and you think that that's the game. Stats only tell half the story, and this is why I tell you guys not to pay attention to them. Whether you're tank, DPS, or support, don't listen to stats. Listen to the outcome of the match. For Hella, it's pretty similar to Hawkeye, and it's the same thing. Hit or miss. If you have an Amor, it's a lot easier for her to play, obviously, due to the squids, but it's still hit or miss because we don't have that target priority yet in these ranks. Next, we have the Hulk. You know what they should do? Just for fun, they should have it so you can look at the Hulk. If you want, you can make it so you look at Hulk or Banner or Monster Hulk. Kind of similar as the display screen on your profile page. It'd be kind of cool, even if the icon is still Banner, but when you select them, you have Hulk or Monster Hulk. Or you can make it settings so that you should probably keep it the same for everybody and have the face look the same. But I think it'd be really, really cool to at least have your choice to see which one you want to see, and you don't always see Banner. This would be good. I don't know. It's a stupid quality of life change, I guess. But anyway, when it comes to the Hulk is pretty similar, just like Black Panther, in the sense where it's very hard to deal with this character. He also just got a buff so that Monster Hulk can't be lifted up. He can still be stopped, stunned in CC. It's pretty similar to the Thing, but he can't be moved around. And he also has a faster charge time. The character is a problem because it's very hard to shoot this guy. It's very hard to deal with this guy. And here's what typically happens, especially at lower ranks. Even if they don't know what they're doing, what you'll usually see is this. Your tank, let's just assume that these are your tanks, right? That's Doctor Strange or Magneto or whatever. And Hulk decides to do this. What are these two tanks going to do? They're either going to hold the line and walk up and not pay attention to the fact that the Hulk is jumping over them, and they'll get obliterated. Or they'll turn around and start chasing the Hulk. 9 times out of 10, they'll turn around and start chasing the Hulk. If Hulk continues to do this, and they continue to turn around and walk, and then I can hit you if I jump above you, right? I could probably hit you if I'm looking up. Like if you're there, I can hit you. His consistency of damage is very high. Then, of course, when he ults, he actually had, this is a wipe ult. If used properly, this is a wipe ult. Even if you don't use it properly, the ability to just knock people around, like Invisible Woman, is a very, very high value. So, this character is definitely one of the hardest solo carry characters in these ranks. And no, Lauren, it's not just because I'm watching you. You know I always put this guy pretty high, honestly. So, easily one of the best solo carry tanks in the game right now. Always have been, always will be for these ranks. Next, we have Iron Fist. I don't want to talk about you. All right, Iron Fist just got a buff. He was able to get a damage boost. And on top of that, he was able to have a little bit higher parry timing. So I think it used to be 1 second and they made it 1.5, or it used to be 1.5 and they made it to 1.7. I forgot the actual numbers, but basically it's longer now. And the damage that he has allows him to be able to KO targets a lot easier. The reason why I say this character is a problem is because a lot of Iron Fist players, there's two types, okay? There's one Iron Fist player that does this. They come in, whatever, and they do this, right? And they're on the ground. Very soon, that Iron Fist player will learn how to do this. And what this does is it makes it so that they're jumping on top of your head. And he's just super hard to deal with like that, right? Not only that, once you actually pay attention to this guy, he'll just do this, right? And then he'll run away. Pretty similar to Black Panther, pretty similar to Hulk. The characters that are very hard to hit will generally do very well in Bronze and Diamond. Because it's not the fact that, oh, I don't get KOs. You're adding pressure, you're adding value. And obviously Iron Fist he does get KOs. His character's broken. So, pretty much the same. Same as always going to be. This character will never be bad in these ranks. I don't think this character will ever be bad in general. But this character will never be bad in these ranks because people do not target priority properly. Next we have Iron Man. Now, honestly, I don't know how I feel about Iron Man right now. Iron Man... The thing about Iron Man is people know how to deal with him now. But I haven't played in Bronze and Diamond this season. But just based off my experience with Iron Man in general lately, with the release of Deadpool, he's not that much of a threat anymore. Especially if the Deadpool is the tank. He's annoying, but I don't really consider the dude a solo carry. And the higher rank this character goes, the less effective he really is, unless he's... I'm going to put him at coast. I think from Bronze to Diamond, you could play Iron Man and you're just chilling, to be honest. You're just chilling, to be honest. It's a good pick. It's hard to deal with you. Even if they do try to deal with you, it's hard to deal with you. You might not solo carry a match, but honestly, you'll win majority of them just playing Iron Man. You'll win majority of them just playing Iron Man, as long as you hit your ults. I actually ban Iron Man when I play in Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. I ban him until Grandmaster. That's how much I dislike him. But with the release of Deadpool, it's very easy to deal with him. If I play Deadpool, So this is why I'm just kind of a little bit biased about where to put him. But I'm just going to leave him there. If you're really good, he can solo carry. I'm not saying he can't. He's not a bad hero. But I just think with the release of a lot of these characters that are starting to be able to deal with this guy, it becomes less and less and less and less and less of a threat. But again, target priority is a major thing in these ranks, which is what we're learning at the moment. And so I think this is a good spot. All right, Jeff. Oh, this character is such a problem. So when Deadpool got released, there was a lot of Jeffs playing because of the new team up. Personally, I haven't had many issues with him in the first couple of days. After that, I've been having a lot of issues with him. I don't know if it was because better Jeff players were playing at the time. I don't know if it's because I just was playing Deadpool, so I wasn't even focused on it. I was more focused on Deadpool. I don't know what it was. But they weren't actually that bad. We could have also been having triple healers a lot of the time, and I just didn't pay attention. Who knows? But he wasn't that much of a throw pick that he was before. I don't even think he got any buffs, so I don't know what happened. That being said, I think the character still sucks, and the character is very useless. We're going to put this guy at hit or miss. Either you're going to throw a game, or you're going to do fine. But other than that, you're not going to have a consistent win rate, unless you are a Jeff-specific one trick. But if you, this is not about, this list isn't about one tricks. This is not about having 100, 200, 300 hours. And honestly, if you have that many hours on Jeff and you're still in these ranks, that's why. So you can't even argue you can't even argue at this point. But I think he's very, very hit or miss. And he's not really worth playing unless you really like him. And you have some hurdles to get over. But if you get over those hurdles, he's a little bit better. But again, he's very hit or miss. I will say he performs a lot better in these ranks because supports don't use their ults properly at all. But once you get to higher ranks, when they start using them properly, Jeff just gets surpassed. Next, we have a Loki. Loki's kind of rough. Again, we're basing all of this on 222. I know a lot of you guys might think, well, some of these characters are better than threes. No. We're basing it off of 222. Okay? We're not basing it off of anything else. So 222 wise, I do not think Loki is actually that great in these ranks. The problem with this character is that he's very cooldown based. It's similar to Adam. He's very cooldown based. When he's triple heals, but when you're in a 2-2-2 situation and a lot of your healing needs to be shot at and or cooldown based, it makes it very difficult. Now, if you are a Loki one trick, he definitely performs a lot better. But if you're like, I only have 2 or 3 hours on Loki, and you try to play him in a 2-2 comp, you'll notice very quickly this character actually doesn't perform that well unless you have a lot of experience on him and you know how to use his clones, you know how to teleport, you know how to go invisible when you're getting focused and all that extra good stuff. The thing about the characters that are released right now is they're very good at getting in people's faces. We just had Deadpool. We also just had Rogue. We also just had Gambit. We also just had Daredevil. We also just had Angela. These are 5 characters that just got dropped that are all very good at rushdown. They're all very good at getting you. With a character like this, because his cooldowns are so high, he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room to move around. And also, Hulk just got buffed. We're seeing a lot more of that character. Also, you might be seeing a lot more of Groot. Also, Iron Fist just got buffed. Black Panther just got buffed. A lot of these characters, Spider just got a little thing, right? A lot of these characters that are very rush heavy or very dive heavy are starting to get played a lot more in these ranks, which means that Loki is going to struggle. If he is left unchecked, the character gets away with a lot. But if you're being focused and you don't really know what you're doing, you might as well just swap to a different character. I'm going to put him at... This one's kind of hard. I'm gonna put him at outclass. It's a hot take because I could put him at hit or miss. But if you're like Poppin, I want to play a character that will climb, and I want you to be honest with me about if I start playing this character and I start picking him up and I start playing him more and more, will it be good enough for me? I don't think it will be. There's a lot more about the game you need to learn, and Loki just makes it a slower process for you. So I honestly do not think that he's worth playing in these ranks. I think he's just outclassed. If there's a triple heal comp, of course, I think he's definitely better. But if you're in a 2-2-2 comp and he's the second healer, No. There's way too much fighting happening in these ranks, and there's way too much consistent fighting for a cooldown-based healer to have success in. All right, next we have Luna. So Luna's been receiving a lot of buffs lately. They've been receiving a lot of buffs lately, and Luna's... The thing about it, it's kind of difficult to rate this character because she's really good. But also, if the player's not that great, then, you know, probably not going to do much. I'm going to say this. At start, if you're like, Poppy, you know, I'm gonna start playing this character, whatever. You're like, you know, where do you think you should put her? I'm going to say she's hit or miss. As you get better at the character, she becomes a coast pick, which means that as long as your team is doing well, bro, you're chilling. You should be able to win a match for free. But hit or miss because she does have a learning curve. It's not just about landing your skill shots or aiming your actual shots to heal, but it's also just a little bit about using your snowflake, a little bit about using your clap, a little bit about positioning. You know, she's a little bit more of a tougher healer to play because she gets punished a lot easier. But as you get better at her, she will slide into coast picks. And as long as your team is fine, you'll be fine. But I just can't put her there right now because that learning curve is a lot. And you'll realize real quick that once fights start happening, you might be in trouble. Yeah, I'm going to keep her there. Magic. We talk about her all the time. That one buff to make it so that she has cooldowns is ridiculous. So my main issue with this character is that she bangs a lot of strategists pretty easily. It's not hard to pull off. It is not hard to pull off at all, especially if they're already taking damage. Like, really, you need to click one button, right? That's it. And then you attack. And then you melee if you want. I mean, you could do it all. You can melee and attack, so you can land it. Right, melee attack. I mean, attack melee. And that should be good enough. You don't even really need to do much. Right, and by then you got a KO. Like, that's not hard. You can even do it slow. So, You're also, if you're jumping around, you have an overshield, and you can just do this. It's not that difficult, right? On top of that, one of her main strengths is being able to survive in a fight. So she can one bang, but she has a lot of durability. As long as she's always attacking, she has a lot of durability. A lot of tanks will sit there and hit. A lot of tanks will sit there and get hit by that minion there. And that gives her bonus HP. She'll continue to do this. Then, of course, if she gets a little bit of damage on her, she'll continue to teleport. And then if she gets really low, she'll just dash out. And she'll reset. And she'll look to do it again. Like, the character is broken. And she's not that difficult to play. As you play her more and more and more, you'll get better and better and better at her. But the value that she provides, not really knowing what you're doing at all, is immense. And even if you don't get KOs, she's a problem. She can also just one-bang tanks. That character, I don't know what they're doing with that character. But they're doing something. They're doing something. All right. Next, we have Magneto. A lot of people are always shocked when I place this character for these ranks. But the thing about Magneto is that he is deceptively a difficult tank to play. If your team does well, he's chilling. But the problem with this game right now, well, not really a problem with the game, just with the meta right now. A lot of the tanks being played are dive tanks or brawl tanks. And he struggles with anything that gets into his radius. So you're dealing with Cap, you're dealing with Hulk, you're dealing with Thor, you're dealing with Venom sometimes, you're dealing with Angela, you're dealing with Rogue, you're dealing with Emma. Emma just got buffed. You're dealing with Deadpool now. Like a lot of these, a lot of these characters just, and he's like, bro, what do I even do now? And that's kind of the situation that he's in right now. He's not necessarily a bad character, but again, we're talking about ranks that have fights just popping off 24/7. The ability this character has to play the game and win matches is very low because you don't really understand how you should play him yet. You're not at that level of tanking. And so even if you just sit there and do nothing, he's not going to be successful. At least Strange, he kind of teaches you how to move forward, even if you do it subconsciously. Right? What happens when you get this? Right? What do you need to do? You have to walk forward and use it. Magneto doesn't really have a tail like that. Magneto, this is why a lot of Magnetos seem very passive. There's nothing to tell this guy to move. So he's very afraid to move. Right? And if you have a Magneto that does this, you're probably going to lose the game, doesn't matter what rank you're in. You have to know when to move, but you also have to know how to play him, and you have to also understand taking, which you just don't understand yet. And so playing this character will have one or two things happen. If your entire team sucks and gets run over, you're going to feel extremely useless, which is very common. Or if there's a lot of things in your face, you're going to feel extremely useless, which is very common. The only way that Mag works is if you outplay the enemy opponent, and it's very easy for these other characters to just take advantage of him. For these ranks, I just think he's outclassed, and I don't think he's really worth playing for these ranks right now. You will get the skill, you will get the knowledge, but 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to play Magneto in these ranks, and let's just say you're not smurfing, or this is your first season playing ranked or whatever, or this maybe you're just picking him up, you're going to realize that you're going to lose a lot more than you win. And it's not necessarily because you're a bad player, but it's just because he's hard to maintain. He's hard to manage. He's hard to play well into a lot of these characters that are being played, because a lot of these characters, I won't say they counter him because he's pretty well rounded, but a lot of these characters put him in a very tight spot most of the match. And so, I want to put him at hit or miss, but again, if you just start playing him and you're an hour, 2, 3, 4 in it, you're probably still not hitting or missing. You're missing a lot more than you're hitting. You'd have to have a lot more hours on this character to really put him through. So I'll say this. If you're just starting with him, a few hours deep, I wouldn't really recommend it. If you're adamant about sticking with him, the better you get, the higher he climbs into the rank threshold. But I don't want to talk about mastery, and I don't want to talk about lords and things like that. I want to talk about if you are just asking what characters are best to climb through bronze and diamond, Mag I wouldn't put up there. Next, we have Mantis. One may feel empathy for an enemy, so with Mantis, she's been receiving a lot of buffs, and I actually think she's super, super solid. I think she's a great character. And I think with the simplicity of her kit, it allows her to be a lot more engaging. It allows her to be able to shoot more and attack more and whatnot. The problem with Bronze and Diamond, though, as I said before, is they fight a lot. Like, if you've ever really played, well, especially Bronze, like if you played in Bronze, Silver, they fight a lot. And I mean a lot. Like, you might think it's an understatement. There are fights happening a lot. Like, you got tanks brawling over there, you have DPS over there, you got strats fighting each other, then you got like something happening there, and then you're in the fight. It's there's no chill. And for a character, again, that is very cooldown based, it's something difficult for her to be able to do. On top of that, she runs into the similar situation where Adam Warlock has to land his shots to get cooldowns. Well, she has to land crit shots to get her leaps back. Now, they do respawn very quickly, but if you're someone who button mashes, which a lot of these ranks do, you're going to run out of them really quickly, and they're not going to have any. Or maybe that guy needs a leaf, and then your tank needs to, or like there's a lot going on. I don't necessarily think she's bad, though, and I really do enjoy playing this character. But I'm going to say that she's very hit or miss. As you get better, she becomes a coast pick. But again, we're not going to talk about mastery or hundreds of hours. we're going to talk about the simple question. If Oppen were to give you a character and say, use this one to climb, she's very hit or miss. You will find out real quick that she wins some and she loses some, but you won't be on a consistent path of winning, regardless of if your team is very good or if your team is very bad in a 2-2-2 scenario. So we're going to have that be. Also, her ult is similar to Adam. It's not as hard to use as Adam's, but it does require forethought. All right. Next, we have Moon Knight. You use Mag every season, and he holds you down. You just answered your own question right there. You use them. Next, we have Moon Knight. So, Moon Knight is just busted. I don't even know how this guy has not been nerfed. Bro, I need to talk to NetEase. We need to have a roundtable discussion. This guy is... I don't know. I don't know why this character remains as strong as he is. The dude gets ult every 2 seconds, bro. The dude has giga damage. I remember I was playing yesterday. I was half HP with Cat, bro. Half HP with Cat. This dude unks me. And I get KO'd in 2 seconds. Like, let me just show you. This is crazy. I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't really shocked, to be fair. But, you know, I thought I had more than a second to react. No, I did not. This dude... Like, look at the damage. That's 3 attacks, bro, and I'm half HP. What DPS should do this that's not a sniper? 3 attacks? And that's without throwing that. Like, bro, what is the damage? And if you actually end up landing headshots? Oh, I missed it. Okay, hold on. He's hunched over. If you actually manage to hit headshots? Like, what is that? What is that?
What? You're real?
What is that? And we think that is balanced? Like, I'm genuinely curious how much damage he does without the unk. Because I actually, you never really want to fight without it. But I'm curious because I never looked.
You have guided me this far. I trust him.
Okay, let's see. Just real quick, just for the sake.
What? There, ahead. I found them.
So 3 crit shots to the dome is almost an entire tank's worth of HP. Bro, I can't look at this guy. I can't look at this guy, bro. I can't look at this guy. Without a doubt, there's not really much to say. This character remains broken and one of the best characters in the game, hands down. You'll know if a character, right? What do they do?
What?
It's not like Black Panther is stronger than like Hulk or Groot. It doesn't really, it's not in that list. But for Moon Knight's sake, we're just going to put him there. Because character's broken. Alright, next we have... Where is he? Namor. Namor just got a buff. And it was to his squids or octopus, whatever you want to call them. Different characters call them different things. I think he calls them squids, and then certain characters like Rocket calls them octopi. Some characters call them different things. And he calls them different things. Regardless of what you want to call them. He got a buff. He was already good. I don't even know why. They're saying that they gave him a buff because they nerfed the team up. But realistically, bro, this character was already strong. So I don't really know what's going on. If you've ever had a flanking Namor on the enemy team, you know how much of a problem the character can be, right? And he also has the ability to one bang in ultimate. So he's just good. The character is just good. There's like no downside to this character. He does a lot of damage. He's very good at anti-dives, which is what's being played a lot, is a lot of divers. He's very good at poking, so he fits into a poke comp. Like, dude is solid. Dude is solid. I'm gonna put him at coast picks. The character will just perform well if his team is doing well, and once you get better, he will start to solo carry. But if you're like Poppin, you know, I haven't started playing him. I want to start playing him. I have a few hours on him. Should I keep playing him? He's a very good coast pick. And then as you proceed to get better, he is a carry pick. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay. Moving on to Penny Parker. Just another update or a recap. If you guys have any skips or buffers, I am recording it just in case if the final version that YouTube exports has lag in it. I'm going to upload a recording of it. But there's a storm happening and whatnot, and it's causing spikes within the connection. Not with mine, but whatever towers that the internet's having to bounce through. And so you might get a little lag here or there. So excuse the buffer, but that's just what's happening right now due to Mother Nature. All right, so talking about Penny. Penny, I honestly thought that Penny without Rocket would be atrocious. Like I did, because Penny without Rocket before was atrocious. But the thing is, they gave her a lot of buffs during that Rocket seasons. And it slowly turned her into a better character without us really noticing it. She kind of flew under the radar. Also, a lot of Penny players got better at playing Penny because they had 2 nests and they were able to play with Rocket and she was getting played a lot more. And, you know, all this stuff was happening. And then after they took Rocket away, the Rocket team up away, she still can hold her own. And that's pretty amazing. I still think she sucks if she gets run over. Like if you take her nest out and push her and keep doing that, she can't play the game. But the initial point, usually, if she can set up somewhere, it is very hard to take. Doesn't matter what rank you're in. What you need to do is have coordination, and a lot of players just do not have that. And if you're in Eternity or OneAboveAll, this character probably is going to get ran through. But for the most part, Bronze Diamond, this character is ridiculous. And she's really, really strong because it's very hard to push her properly unless your team is on board and they slow down. But a lot of the times, players in these ranks don't have an off button. So let's just say, you know, Strange pushes in, he gets blown up by the you know, the Penny nest. We have to wait for a second because we have a solo tank, right? He's solo tanking. You have your Black Panther going in there and getting KO'd. Now we don't have a Black Panther. Strange then spawns, and then we're down to DPS. The next DPS before Strange gets to the point walks in and gets blown up by the nest too, and now we're just staggered. Like she staggers people without trying because they're very impatient, and that leads to just free wins. So we're gonna put her at solo carries. It's not even a coast pick at this point. This character just straight up solo carries, even if you don't know what you're doing, because of the way that players play around it. Next, we have Psylocke. All right, this character's, you know what? She's hard to play at first. She's very weird and she's very squishy and she's hard to play at first. I'm not going to deny. As you get better, she becomes a problem. But again, I don't want to do the list based off, oh, they're a Lord, because the Lord would be able to have an easier time than someone who has like 2 or 3 hours into the character. So in terms of like just the average level player for these ranks playing this character, I'm going to say she's very hit or miss. She either pops off or she doesn't. She lands her ults or she doesn't. She's not a bad character, and as you get better at her, she will start to have more impact. But the thing is, it takes a second to get there, and you have to be willing to want to lose matches first, because you will lose matches. Anybody who's ever learned Psylocke, you understand exactly what I'm saying. Those of you who have never touched Psylocke, you might be thinking like, well, she destroys my team. Try her first, play her for 10 games, and tell me that you won all 10 games. You're going to see real quick that she's very hit or miss, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So it's not the fact that she's very difficult to like button press with. It's not the combinations. It's how you play the character in contrast to how you play the other DPS characters. It's not the same, and it's very weird. As you get used to it, you do get better. She has more impact, but just where she is right now, I don't really think she's worth playing unless you really want to. Next, we have Rocket. Honestly, not really gonna say much about this character. They did nerf him. I was shocked when he got nerfed, bro. When he got nerfed, why are we nerfing his crawl speed? But as I played more games, I realized it was because of triple strats. There's no other reason to nerf it other than triple strat. Because, bro, a character is slow now. But in triple strats, if you can't catch a rocket, it's very hard. It's very hard to play because if you catch another healer out, he brings them back, and then you have to do it all over again. And by the time you get to that point again, he has his beacon back. Because let's just say, oh, we start the match, whatever. We're 50%. Everybody's 50% to ultimate, right? Rocket's beacon gets used. The strat gets KO, invisible, whatever. She comes back. 50% fight happens again. Now we have ults, and we have 3 of them. The fight's going to last probably about 10 seconds. By the end of the fight, the third strat should have an ult, and if they don't, well, whatever. But that's 10 seconds. They have to then walk back to point or walk back to the fight. By that point, Rocket has a beacon. So basically, he has a beacon every single fight. Which means that you have an extra life every single fight. And you already have bonus life because you have a third healer. Which means that if you can't KO Rocket, the dude is basically going to just have free wins. Now, we're not talking about triple strat. We're talking about 2-2-2. But I was just understanding why they nerfed it in the first place. That being said, Rocket, I see it disconnect. I'll wait a second. Because I can see when we actually just drop stream. So, if I see it just cut, I'll wait a second to get back to the screen. But if you guys do see little dips, again, it's the weather. Can't do much about it, but I am recording it. So if you guys want to come back, if there is dips in the stream, usually YouTube does a good job of not having them after you watch the real video. But if there's dips, I'll just upload the recorded version. Scarlet Witch, a lot of people think that she's bad for some reason, and I don't really understand why a lot of people think the character is bad. I really don't understand why. Even in season 1, 2, people just thought she was bad. As you climb, she becomes a lot more telegraphed, but the character is still strong. She's just simple. Especially with the Doctor Strange team up, character is great. I'm not going to say too much about her. She did get a few buffs, but it is what it is. I think she's a pretty solid character. I think she's a coast pick. As long as your team's alright, you'll win matches, and the better you get at her, you'll be able to solo carry your matches. But I think she's just a great coast pick. She's a very good pick for your team. And the fact that she's so simple to play, the fact that she's so simple to execute, continuous sustained damage is never a bad thing. And her ultimate can one-shot everything. So even if there's strats ulting back-to-back and there's 3 of them, you can KO them if you ult at the right time. Like, she's very useful. I just think that she can't solo carry until you get a lot more hours on her. But if you were like popping, is that's a good character to play pretty well bound, I'd be like, yeah, for sure. Next, we have Spider. So Spider, he got a few buffs. He got a new team up. He takes time to learn. And so I feel like a character like this is unfair to rank it based off of just, if I were to play a character that just started, or if I were to play the game and, I want to play ranked, what characters are best for me to start putting hours into. It's unfair to judge Spider based off that because objectively, 3 to 4 hours of Spider is not enough to play Spider. You know what I mean? And every Spider-Man main knows this. It's not enough. It's not enough. You need so many hours on this character to make him work. He's not bad, but I'm just saying, the threshold to be able to play this character is very high. And so I'm going to rate him based off of that. I'm not going to rate him based off of just, am I going to give this character to some random and they never play Spider? Good luck. It's just pointless. It's pointless. You're not going to be successful. So rating it based off, you have a general understanding of how Spider-Man works. You understand how to swing. You understand how to hop. Just the basic understanding of Spider. If you have that, he is a very coast pick friendly character. The better you get, the more he can solo carry. But when I say coast pick here, it's more of like, you might not get KOs, but if you can just manage to be annoying, job done. The reason why I don't put him at solo carries is because he has a lot of error, or he has a lot of room for error. Regardless of how good you are at the character, you will have errors. The better you get, the less you'll have, but you'll have errors. You guys might see Spider-Man clips and all that extra stuff, but y'all don't see the entire match. They have errors because the character is demanding mechanically. It's just normal. It's normal. So it'd be unfair to put him at solo carries because he's inconsistent. That being said, even if you don't pull things off, you're annoying. You're in the back line, and if your team is good at the game, or decent at the game, you probably win the game outright. His ult is a very strong ultimate as well. As long as you use it properly, you can get a free KO on one target every single time. And if you use it even better, you have 2 or 3 KOs all at the same time. So very good character in that regard. And the better you get at him, the harder he solo carries. Moving on to Squirrel Girl. I think this character is extremely good, but not many people play her, and I don't know why. Like, this character is actually deceptively good, but people don't really play her. It's very rare. Now, I will say she has more success in areas that have a lot of walls and tight corners because that's where she thrives. She's a grenade launcher character, therefore grenade launcher characters don't like open spaces. However, if you get good at landing them instead of relying on wall bounces, this character does giga damage. That being said, she does have weaknesses. All right, she does have issues. And even if you are really good at her, I will say you might not solo carry a match. I do think that she's good, but you might not solo carry a match just by playing her, even if you get really good at her. Because her kit isn't designed to solo carry a match. You know what I mean? Like, it's not designed to... It's more like a support DPS rather than an actual DPS. So I'm going to put her at coast picks. As long as your team is competent, as long as your team is playing the game, you're probably going to win more often than you lose. Period. She's very good at that in that regard. And with the changes to the Squirrel Girl ult that people don't really talk about, if you use it, it's pretty good at wiping an enemy team. You just have to use it properly. And she gets it as fast as Moon Knight. She's honestly just as good as Moon Knight, but she's not used as much. And I think they buffed her recently because nobody plays her. But I'm telling you, she is sleeper. She is sleeper. You would definitely she's sleeper, bro. All right. Next, we have Star-Lord. Star-Lord, not even gonna talk about him. His ultimate makes this guy busted. All you have to do is get your ultimate, wait for the supports to be dumb and use theirs, and then fire your ult, you'll win the match. It's not even a lot to talk about. Even in high ranks, he does it. It's not rocket science. You guys have seen it. You guys have been on the receiving end of it. It really sucks when the tank Magneto doesn't hold his ult. It really sucks when the strats use their ult and he just pops off legendary. It really is like, bro, it's free. I don't even talk much about that character. Next, we have Storm. And then obviously the better you get at him, the better he is. Next we have Storm. So with Storm, I don't really know what they want to do with this character. I don't think that she's bad, but maybe she can use a little bit of a rework. And if they give her that rework, it'll be cool. What I suggest is maybe give her another weather. So the weather that I would suggest is wind. Lightning will stun enemies, right? When you activate the lightning, you'll stun them. So I'll just give a brief demonstration. This is the rework that I would do. So when you activate this, each strike like that stuns them. I would probably change the interval. Don't get me wrong. But they'll stun for like maybe 0.5 seconds. You know? Nothing crazy. But it's a good stun. You can keep the damage amplification if you want. That's really neither here nor there. And then during this moment, as she hits, she can have chain attacks. So not only is she able to stun, if you would like, maybe take the damage away from it, but give it a little stun. And then when she hits, she has chain attacks. Anybody in her vicinity is chain lightning. So it doesn't actually have to be next to him like that. Even if they're over here, if she smacks him, it's chain lightning to that person. That's the price you have to pay for being underneath Storm during this activation. For wind, I mean, not wind. The second one was going to the other one was going to be rain. I'm sorry, not wind. She already has wind. For wind, it's going to be similar how it is now. It would just slow you and it'd boost people up. It makes sense. But I think another additional effect that it could have, maybe even if they want to reduce the slow, is cutting players. So as they get inside, if you remove the tick damage from the Storm version, you would give her tick damage in the wind version. So they're taking tick, 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 tick. Even if it's very low, they're getting hurt just by being underneath you. And then if you add water, this is going to be where they start to slow. This is going to be where they're like trudging through mud, basically. Nothing crazy, again, but just a. All right, it should be back. Again, if the interruptions are happening, I will upload the recorded version. But if I see it actually go offline, I'll wait a second. So even if you're watching the recording, you'll have it be offline, and you'll have me pause. But anyway, so I would shift her more into the DPS category, just a little bit, nothing fancy, and that would make it so that she's a little bit more viable instead of feeling like you're a support character the entire time. I still think she's good, but you have to be really good to make her play well. I'm going to say that she's hit or miss. You know what? No, we're going to put her in coast picks in these ranks. But as she gets higher, it's definitely hit or miss. No, not even unless. It is hit or miss. But in Bronze and Diamond, you can get away with it because people don't have a good time dealing with flyers anyway. Next, we have the Punisher. Hit or miss. Honestly, I don't really see Punishers do well, ever, in these ranks. He's strong, and he's good, and I think he's in a great spot right now. But players just kind of can't aim here, and that is literally his strength. So, or they ult at the wrong time. I just don't think he's that great right now for these ranks. Could you play him? And the better you get at him, yeah, he becomes a solo carry, like, easily. In these ranks. The higher rank you go, he's not really a solo carry anymore. But in these ranks, if you get better at him, he is a solo carry for sure. You just have to. But we're not talking about mastery. We're talking about a few hours on him, right? You're like, Popping, what character should I invest time into? I wouldn't say Punisher, without a doubt. It just ain't worth it. Next, we have Thor. Not going to talk much about this character. He did receive a buff. He's very strong. Pretty simple. Dude's just a straight up solo carry character. He's always been. I've never thought he was bad. Really good character to play. A lot of damage. Great into triple strats. Just very good, well-rounded character. Next, we have Venom. Venom's pretty simple. He's received a few buffs in the past. I honestly think they need to give him movement speed buff. NetEase, I don't know why you're not listening. Let this guy just move a little bit faster. Actually, is his speed the same as Hulk's? And I just don't know it. Let me see real quick. It took 7 shots to get from point A to point B.
The bond between a symbiote and its host is sacred. Do not dare to break it.
Okay, he is a bit slower. So yeah, buff his speed a little bit like you did the Hulks. I would like him a little bit more. Then reduce the slow of his tether. Whatever, neither here nor there. That's hearsay. Regardless, I think Venom is fine. I think Venom is a good character, but I just think in these ranks you don't understand how to dive properly. And so Venom becomes a problem for his team because he goes in when he shouldn't. And that can create a lot of staggering and a lot of disconnects. And he's also a very, very high HP tank, which means your healers are going to have to pay a lot more attention to healing him when he comes back. And it's just, he makes the game harder for everybody if you don't know what you're doing. So that being said, we're going to just put him at hit or miss. As you get better at the character, he does perform better. But if you're saying, should I put more hours into Venom? Should I keep playing this character? And you're in Bronze and Diamond? No. All right. Next, we have Bucky. Bucky is giga broken, bro. Like, I don't even think I have to talk about this character. Even if you suck at Bucky, Bucky's broken. And honestly, it's not even that hard to play this character. Let's be real. Anybody who says he is difficult to play is trolling. You can spam and you'll be all right. Once you get his ult down pat, you're probably just gonna wombo combo. All right. Anyway, we're not even gonna take time. We just know that Bucky is busted. Let me move my camera so you guys can see everything. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Character's busted. All right, next Wolverine. Now, Wolverine is funny because this character was actually so good, and then he got nerfed. He had his leap nerfed, I think to like 16 seconds or 15. It was high. It was really high. When I saw that change, I was like, he can only play the game for like 30, or he can only play the game for about 30 seconds. Oh my god, I was thinking he is locked out of playing the game for about 30 seconds. That's a very long time to have a character not play the game. So I was like, that's troll. He got he got some of that reverted, and he got a few buffs here and there, and he's a solid pick. He's a really, really good character. That being said, it does require knowledge. And even if your team is good, you're probably still going to lose. This character is all or nothing. Either you carry the match or you lose the match. There's no in between. And it takes a lot of hours to get there, and I just wouldn't recommend doing that because the path of getting really good at the character to the point where he could pull that type of stuff off is very hit or miss, and you'd be wasting a lot of time if your goal is to hit diamond as fast as possible. All right. Next, we have Mr. Fantastic. I always say it every season. This character is very easy to use. This character is very strong. This character has great abilities, and he recently has been getting buff. His ultimate is one of the best ultimates in the game. Clearing space just to... Oh my god. He's such a good character. He's such a good character. Definitely up there in the solo carries bracket for sure. When you learn to play him really well. Actually, I'm gonna put him lower because you have to learn. Yeah, you do have to learn to play him really well first. So I'm gonna say once you get better at him, he becomes a solo carry. But if you only have like 3-4 hours into him, you're probably not pulling a solo carry job off. But you will be impacting your games, and as long as your team is pretty decent, even if they're like a little bit below average, this dude does work. And then as you get better with him, he carries. Next, we have Invisible Woman. She received a nerf, but it really didn't do much. I mean, it did much to her, but it doesn't do much to the team itself. Just a coast pick. A coast pick. Next is Johnny. Who's the hardest character? All the characters in this game are pretty easy. But I'd say mechanically, probably Spider. Once you get used to it, it's not too rough, but you do have to get used to it. It's very weird. But most characters in this game are pretty easy. That's their market. So nothing's that complicated. With Johnny, they gave him a little buff, and it actually makes him feel better. However, regardless of if your team is good or not, he's just very hit or miss. He's very hit or miss. If you get good at him, he'll become a coast pick, where like if your team does decent, you'll win matches. But you have to get over that initial hump, and that takes about 5 to 10 hours. And so you have to want to learn him for that long and lose games at the same time before you can really get to that point. Next, we have the Thing. Very coast-heavy character. As you get better, he becomes a solo carry. But your first few hours on him are going to be very coast heavy. If your team does well, this guy's just going to run through. If your team sucks, you're going to feel it. And then as you start to get the understanding of the balance of like, oh, my team's good, my team's not, you'll start to get better. And then that's where you end up in the solo carries category. Next we have Emma. This one's hard. I'm going to put her at hit or miss. Once you get better, she becomes a coast pick for sure. But she is weird, and you have to take the time to learn the weird with this character. She's not bad at all, and I do think she's a great character. But the initial hurdles that you have to get in, she's weird. That's all I'm going to say. She's weird. Once you get past the weirdness, she's going to be in coast picks. And she's just very good if your team is good. And then if you get even better, she can solo carry a match. But again, we're not talking about the 100-hour Emma player. And if you do have that and you're still in these ranks, you don't have an argument to make. Next, we have Ultron. The character got a buff. He's able to have 2 drones now. He also gives you damage buff. I think because the fights are so chaotic between Bronze and Diamond, it's kind of rough to play this character. Again, fights happen over there, over there, over there, over there. You have to, like, you can't drone everywhere. And they don't even understand that you have to sit under the drone together. So you have a strat getting attacked, and then you have the other strat getting attacked, and then both of them go away. And it's like, if y'all just sit on each other while I have the drone, you know what I mean? So, and the 3-3-3 comp, great guys, great, but we're only talking about 2-2-2. He's very hit or miss. You'll win some, you'll lose some. Even once you get good at him, I mean, he's just very hit or miss. Next, we have Phoenix. She's really good, but she also is only good if you're good. I don't want to put her at hit or miss because that's not accurate. I'm going to put her at coast. If your team's doing well, you'll do fine. As you get better at her, she can solo carry. But again, that's when you're like 10 to 20 hours deep into the character. And then obviously have an understanding of how to play Marvel Rivals in general. Which, you know, you don't have yet. You have to get better at that. Next, we have Blade. So with Blade... Alright, Blade, he's got a buff recently, but it actually doesn't make him that much better. I'm not saying he's horrible, but like, if you guys ever had a Blade on your team, y'all already know the answer to this one. Very, very hit or miss. Very hit or miss. Love the character, but you're going to have to learn a lot about the character. And even if you do, he's still pretty hit or miss. You have to either stop the game or you're probably going to lose. Let's be honest. Angela. Another hit or miss character. It doesn't really matter how good you get. She's very hit or miss. She plays very strange, so you're going to have to get used to that. And then also, if your team sucks, she's also hit or miss. Now, if your team does well, she is a good coast pick, but you have to learn how to play her, and that's going to take hours. Like any Angela main will tell you, you don't just play Angela and learn her in 30 minutes. It's going to take that initial hump of like sucking first. And again, if you're asking, like, you know, Poppin, which characters you think I should play and invest time into to get to Diamond the fastest, it's not this one. So it is something you have to think about if you want to play this character. I do think she's good, though. She did just get a nerf, but I do think she's good. I do think she's played pretty frequently, and she is very annoying to go against. But
I serve as queen.
But your team's going to have to be pretty decent. I'm going to wait a second because I think we might drop connection here because of the weather. Okay, I think we're back. All right. Next, we have Daredevil. So you guys know, everybody and their mama says, Daredevil's OP, bro. Daredevil's OP. And we go through this every patch. But the character is only good when you're amazing. 9 times out of 10, you're not finding that amazing one-trick Daredevil. You're finding just an average Daredevil player. And they're not that great. Yes, when you get that Lord or that amazing player, he can be a great asset, but like realistically, most of them are not. What we got? I'm genuinely curious what this dude's win rate was. All right, so overall, his win rate is 52, and that's quick play. But let's do competitive, and I'm gonna do all ranks. We're not even gonna separate it. His win rate is 55 in all ranks. Okay, now let me go ahead and move him to gold. I think that's a good median. It's 54, so he's actually still stopping these people. Holy. 50. Let me be honest. How often do you guys see people that play Daredevil that's not a smurf if he gets through? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Okay. My bad. I was going through stuff. Okay, anyway. So, with Daredevil, like I said, I mean, I think that he is capable of a lot, but it does take a second to get there. He's not that difficult to play at all. Like, the dude can kind of button mash and get away with it. He's pretty similar to Iron Fist and Black Panther and Magic, where you don't really have to do much other than just press buttons. And then the better you get at pressing those buttons, the more dangerous you become. I'm going to say he's a very good coast pick. And then once you get better at him, he can solo carry matches. Next we have Gambito. I love this character. I don't play him much because he keeps getting banned, but I'm going to play him eventually once people stop banning him repeatedly. It looks like they've calmed down. He doesn't seem to get banned as much anymore. So with Gambit, definitely... This one's rough, dude. I honestly don't know. So I'm in between hit or miss and coast picks. The problem with Gambit is that he's not actually easy to play. Like ability management wise. And you can throw a game just by not knowing what you're doing that well. Or you could throw fights. But he's also not hard to play once you get used to him. And it's only going to take you about an hour, like 3 or 4 games, and you will get used to the character. He's not a hard entry barrier at all. Given the fact that Bronze and Diamond players play a certain way, I'm actually going to put him at hit or miss. And I know this is kind of weird, but hear me out. Again, if you play in Bronze and Diamond, a lot of the fights are scattered. He doesn't have a great... He's not that good at playing in scattered fights. If there's a fight there, he's not a good character to just be able to play all those fights at once. He can't. The way that his kit works is not able to pull that type of stuff off. And again, he's gated by cooldown. So if you spam everything, you're just not going to have nothing left. As you get better at him, and as you climb towards Diamond, he becomes a better character. And he'll then move into coast picks. But just in an overall arcing thing, if you're like, Poppin', should I invest time into Gambit? I don't think so. Because for him to really exceed, you would have to know how to dive. You would have to know how to secure KOs. You would have to know a lot of what you don't know right now. Or at least don't know how to perform to a solid execution. You would also need to know when to use your ultimate. Because a lot of Gambit players just fire that thing off like it's freaking free t-shirts at a baseball game or something. So I don't think that character would be that great being played until you get really good. And even then, just the fact that your teammates are fighting all over the place, you might have a Flyer, Spider-Man. There's a lot of stuff that it's way too much effort, honestly, especially if you're trying to learn how to play Marvel Rivals in general. That's just way too much to think about, in my opinion. All right, next we got Rogue. Regardless of what you do, she provides value. It's pretty crazy. Not many characters in this game do that, but there are a few that even if you have no idea what you're doing, you provide value. The only issue with why I don't put her at solo carries is because she's a tank. And tanks that don't know what they're doing tend to get KO'd more, right? Because they're the focus of the fight. You know, you shoot the tank. But she's very good. I actually want to play more of her, but I'm afraid to because there's so much poke happening. There's so much poke happening in higher ranks that I just don't want to put myself in that situation. Like, Poppin', you play Cap. Yeah, but Cap is fast, okay? Next, we have Deadpool. We're going to just rate this dude overall and not in between because he's 3 roles, right? We're just going to rate him overall in a big bundle package. No matter where you play this guy, realistically, dude, he is hit or miss. He is hit or miss. As you get better at him, and I mean as you have about 10 hours into him, maybe 5 to 10, that ballpark, you end up in coast picks, just like Spider. But you need to get that down pat first. Otherwise, you're just going to lose your match hard or win hard. There is no real in-between for the characters. So this is where we are. This is our tier list for Bronze to Diamond. If you are a Bronze to Diamond player, the characters that I suggest you start playing if you want to get to Diamond as fast as possible are going to be the solo carries. If you're chilling and you're like, you know, I don't really want to play the solo carries, but you want a really good, decent pick that'll help you get there. Or as you get better at these characters, they then slide into solo. You can pick these ones. If you really want to play hit or miss, it's going to take a while for you to get good with them. But once you do get good with them, they start to climb a little bit. Some of them don't, though, to be real with you, like Blade and Jeff. I just don't. You know, they're still really hit or miss, to be fair. And then Outclass is just like, I don't really think you should play this character at all. So, yeah, I don't think so. To be honest, any hero can carry in low elo. That's false. If that were the case, all the characters would have 100% win rate. I know what you're trying to say, but if someone is stuck in low elo and they don't understand how to play the game, that's not true. That's not true. I know what you're saying, but it's not true. All right. Next, we are going to move to Grandmaster. Celestial. Oh, I spelled that wrong. All right, this is going to be the next tab that we're looking at. So we're going to go through this a lot quicker, like a lot quicker. And we're also not even going to pull up characters on here. And we're just going to chill. Okay? Because we don't need to show, we don't need to explain as much anymore. We can be slow, we can be deliberate. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. This is going to be Grandmaster to Celestial. Make it. I don't want it to be blocked. I guess I'll put it at the top of the screen until it starts filling up, and then I'll move it. All right. Oh, you know what I can do? I could just do this. Boop. And then now it's always going to be there and it won't clutter. Poppin' is smart sometimes. All right. Let's jetpack through this. I feel like Diamond and GM are the same people. And threes. So how rank typically works is that everything 3 is essentially the same rank as the one before. So if you're gold, if you hit gold 3, you're still technically a silver player. You kind of just got lucky to hit gold. That's all it is. If you are a diamond player and then you hit Grandmaster 3, you're technically still the diamond player. You just got lucky and crested through. You probably will demote again. It's normal. That's just what happens. As you slowly enter Grandmaster 2, you then become a Grandmaster player. But you have to get through the initial hump of 3. So your account says that rank, but realistically, you're still the same as what you were before. So you are right in that regard until about Grandmaster 2. All right. Here we go. Adam Warlock. Let's be quick. Let's be fast. Let's be in a hurry. With Adam Warlock, Grandmaster Celestial, again, we're talking about 2-2-2. We're talking about solo, duo, queue, maybe trio if possible. He's still very hit or miss in these ranks. I've played a lot of them, honestly, and I have a high win rate on this character, but that's because I've played Adam since season 0. So I know more than the average person. But if you're like, okay, Poppin, what's some good characters to climb from Grandmasters to Celestial? If you do Adam Warlock, he's not outclassed, but he's going to take some time to get good at, and you're going to find that some games are very hit or miss, depending on how you play the character. You're going to need to improve a lot at him in order for him to climb higher, and that's going to slow down your progress. If you're like, I just want to get from Grandmaster to Celestial as fast as possible, he's hit or miss. Next character is Black Panther. I want to get to Grandmaster or Celestial as fast as possible. Very hit or miss, honestly. I think that as you enter Celestial, that's a lie. We're gonna put him at Coast. As you enter Celestial, this character actually becomes way easier to deal with. Like, there's way easier. But just in the grand scope of things, from Grandmaster to Celestial, if your team's doing pretty decent, you'll be fine. If your team is buns, you'll lose. Right? This character doesn't carry a match just by existing anymore, because players understand how to deal with them. Players understand how to play the thing. Players understand how to deal with them. Just because you exist does not mean that your games are going to be easier in these ranks. They will deal with you at that point. Black Widow, hit or miss. I don't think she's a bad character, and I mean, honestly, by this time you would understand how to play her. You would just have to get better at her. Next character that we have is Cap. By this point, you understand how to play the game again, at least at a basic level. But he's still hit or miss. I love that character, and you guys know I do, but the character is still hit or miss. Cloak and Dagger. She's a Coast character by this point. People don't usually just lose because Cloak and Dagger's on the team anymore. Doctor Strange, Coast character. Unless you have to be above rank. You have to be basically smurfing to solo carry with this character. Otherwise, it's not happening. Groot. Honestly, I still think he's a solo character. Just existing makes this game harder for everybody. And honestly, you can get some free wins just by picking Groot, for sure. For sure. The walls are still a problem, and people still don't really understand how to deal with you. He's a very good solo tank because he has so much HP and he's very, very durable. So I definitely think if you continue to play this character and you continue to do well on this character is a monstrous solo carry. Next, we have Hawkeye. So this is where the character really shines because players start understanding target priority. And they understand what to shoot and why. So, same thing for Hela. What to shoot and why. They start being better and better and better. Hulk now becomes a Coast pick. People know how to deal with them now. People know what to do. They know how to CC him. They know to shoot him when he comes in. Very easy. Iron Fist, he is still the same. Just by existing, just by being in the game. You create a lot of value in being able to secure. Also with this buff, it's just, you're a problem. Iron Fist, or not Iron Fist, but Iron Man. It's hit or miss. There's some games where this dude takes off, but there's other games where they don't. A lot of players, especially because of the resets, which makes better players have to get pushed down every single season, right? Even if it's just a little bit, free value anymore. I'm gonna pause because I saw the stream cut out a little bit. All right, I see that the stream is back online. Again, apologize for the cuts. I will be uploading the recorded version onto YouTube should I see any cuts in the playback. So don't worry about that if you want to see the full thing and maybe some parts are missing. I'll just upload the full version. Yeah, so what I said with Iron Man, just to finish out here, is that the better you get at him, he'll be able to coast, but realistically speaking, people can deal with them more now. Jeff, honestly, hit or miss still. He's not technically outclassed, but he's just super, super hit or miss. Loki is a very good Coast pick at this point. No, even in TT, bro, this guy is just, he's not really, you have to be, if you're good with Loki, he becomes a Coast pick. But he's very easy to deal with if he's the second healer. If there's 3 strats, well, that's a problem. But just in 2s, he's not that difficult to deal with at all. Even if you don't KO the target, if he has to run away or go invisible, he's not healing and you're getting value because this guy has to run away. He's very hit or miss. If you can play for free, he's free. If you can't, you're probably gonna be in trouble. By this point, you know how to aim, you know how to play Luna better. Definitely a Coast pick. Magic still solo carries matches. She's broken. Magneto, he's a lot better now. He's a Coast pick. Mantis, Coast pick. A lot better here. Actually, I'll still say this one's hard, dude. No, I think she's a Coast pick. She can actually solo carry too if you're really good, but I think she's a straight up good Coast pick. Moon Knight, busted. Namor, busted. Penny, this one's a coast pick. If your team is good, she'll be fine. If your team's having some really hard time, she's probably not going to play well. But if your team is doing well, you probably will win more than you lose. Psylocke, coast pick. She's still not there yet. Players in these ranks don't have the skill to really be that solo carry Psylocke yet. Rocket, always a coast pick, nevertheless. Scarlet Witch, still a coast pick. Spider-Man, still a coast pick. If your team does well, he's really a pain to deal with. But if your team sucks, he's probably not going to win the match. Squirrel Girl, again, coast pick. Nothing too crazy of the carry there. Star-Lord's definitely a carry. The similar thing happens. Either they don't care about Star-Lord and you just get away with ulting repeatedly because they're not paying attention. Or what's going to happen is that they will wait for you to ult, which means that if you never ult, that support never ults. And then they're down a support ult. So either way, it's a win-win regardless if you can ult or not. Star-Lord's Star-Lord player, the player that plays him will also be better here. The movement will be better. The dive potential will be better. The shots will be better. Very good all-round character. Next we have Storm. Very hit or miss. Basically, you'll be shot out the sky most likely, and you don't really provide enough value. Even if you get really, 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 really good at her, if people shoot you down, she's useless. Punisher. This one's rough, bro. He's actually a carry character, bro. The Punisher is disgusting. If you, by this point, you understand how to play the game better, and that character will reward you for it. Next, we have Thor. Thor is always going to remain there. Very strong character, especially right now. I know if the thing is played, it's a little bit rough for him, but he's just so good right now. There's not really a reason not to play this character if you really enjoy that character. Venom, he moves up. He's now a coast pick. He's not a hard carry character, even if you get really, 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 really good at him. Unless you're smurfing, you still have to learn the timing and stuff like that, which you're still evolving your game sense between these ranks. Bucky, just ridiculous. Play this character. Wolverine. Honestly, you should be good enough now to solo carry this with this character. He's really good. He's really good with the buffs. He's an amazing character. If you are a Wolverine main and you just stop playing him because you felt like he's bad, trust me, he's not. Keep playing him. Mr. Fantastic. He's not really a solo. This one's hard. Like, if your team sucks, I don't know. He's a nuisance, but I guess I don't really see him just straight up solo carrying matches. I'm gonna put him at coast picks. If your team's pretty decent, this character is ridiculously hard to deal with. Once you get really good at him, he can kind of move into the solo carries category, but I'm gonna be honest, most Mr. Fantastic players don't play him to that level at all. But I will say that if the team is decent, this character is always hard to deal with. Always hard to deal with, every single time. Mr. Fantastic, or not Mr. Invisible Woman, solo. Or not solo, but coast pick. Just very solid character all around. Johnny Storm, just like Storm, just hit or miss. The Thing, still a solo carry character, very strong. Emma, well actually, he was coast picks before, but now he's a solo carry character because players understand how to play him better now. What makes this character a problem is his ultimate. He's very tanky too, but his ultimate really game changes, and if you just learn when to use your ultimate, you'll win every single fight. He's very, very strong. Even with the recent nerfs, it just means that you have to play him smarter. And once you learn how to do that, he's nasty. Emma, still a coast pick. I think a lot of her power isn't there to solo carry anymore. But she's not a bad character. Ultron. This one's rough. In a 2-2-2 scenario, just hit or miss. Phoenix. By this point, you should know how to solo carry with the character like that. Blade. Hit or miss, bro. Either you stomp or you don't. Angela. This one's super hard, man. Because I've seen some really good Angelas, but they were good. I don't know what an average Angela... Because people that play Angela in this rank, they're not... Either you play it or you don't. There is no in-between, bro. So I usually see bad or good. I don't see someone who's just average. Either you have 1,000 hours on this character or you don't. And if you don't, you suck. So... But if you know how to play her, she's super strong, man. She's super annoying to do. What I'll say is that she's more of a coast pick. She's probably not going to do much by herself. But if the team is decent, she runs games. It is very team dependent of a character. Daredevil, solo carry. Gambit. He has the potential to solo carry. Even with the nerfs that he's got. Rogue. Potential to solo carry. Deadpool. I'm going to put him at hit or miss until players get better at him. But, like, here's my real thought about Deadpool. If you play Deadpool well, especially DPS Deadpool, this guy carries. If you play Strat well, this guy carries. If you play Tank well, this guy carries. This guy can carry a match. But the thing is, not a lot of players know how to play him. And I don't want to be biased and just say, well, if you know how to play him. Because that kind of goes for every character. Just right now, it's not enough information to go off of. If you're cracked, Deadpool is cracked. But if you're anything less than cracked, the character is garbage. So I don't want to rank him for no reason there. All right, that was a pretty fast list. Pretty good list. Let's move on to the next one. Again, we're rapid firing through these ones. Good Eternity. OneAboveAll. Next tier list here. All right. So with this tier list, it is going to be so much more different because players here are elite. Players understand how to play the game. Players understand what to do. And this is going to be way different than what you guys probably would expect for the other ranks because players play these characters to their efficiency. First up is Adam Warlock, coast pick. You know, if the team is good, this guy's fire. If the team is bad, then, you know, you're probably not going to do much. But he's a pretty good coast pick, even at 2/2/2s, in my opinion. You're not really outclassed or anything because people know how to play with Adam Warlock at this point. It's not a guess. People understand how to play with Adam Warlock, period. And the Adam Warlock players should be really, really good. Black Panther, hit or miss. Either you pop off or you just throw the entire match. Black Widow, coast. If the team's doing well, she actually is really solid. Cap, just outclassed. Not worth playing the character. Again, this is from a solo queue perspective. Well, obviously, this is... You can't even duo queue. I mean, you can't trios or more in OneAboveAll in Eternity. I don't even think you can do it in Celestial. So, I don't even need to say it anymore. But just in context, again, this is for a solo duo. If you use comms or not, it's up to you. But I will say that Cap only is successful if the team plays around him. And it's just not worth expecting that. That's what I'm trying to say. Cloak and Dagger, still coast pick. Strange is a coast pick. I think most tanks in this rank are a coast pick. Hawkeye still solos carries. Hela still solo carries. Hulk is a coast pick. Is he? You are that high. If you play him well, which you should, if you play Hulk in these ranks, bro, he's good. He's good. Iron Fist, More of a coast pick now. Players know how to deal with the character. I really don't know if I want to move Hulk or not. He can, but again, there's matches where I just know he's gonna just feed. I'm gonna move him to hit or miss. I want to just listen to my gut here. Iron Fists. Still a coast pick. I don't know. I'm gonna say hit or miss. That's a lie. Hit or miss. By this point, people know how to deal with Iron Fist. There is no question. This guy would have to be cracked or not, period. Iron Man just gets outclassed. There's not really a reason to play him. You're gonna sniped out the sky. There ain't no way you're able to play that character for free. Jeff, outclassed. No reason to even play him. Loki, hit or miss. Either you do really well or you just, you know, suck. Luna, very good coast pick. People know how to play around you. People know how to play with you and all that extra good stuff. Magic, I still feel as a solo carry character, bro. Changed my mind. Mag, coast pick. Mantis, I think she's actually a solo carry pick. And the reason why I say this is because she's very good at dealing damage, but also she's very good at amplifying. If you play Mantis at this rank, you understand who to give the buff to. They understand how to use it when you put it on them, and she gives a lot to the team. When we're talking about Moon Knight, more of a coast pick. At this point, people know how to deal with Moon Knight. He's still strong in my opinion, but you know, he's manageable. Namor, coast pick. People know how to deal with the squids. People know how to shield, you know, all that extra stuff. Penny, hit or miss. Either she's really good at that particular place or at that particular moment, or just horrible. They're probably going to have to swap off if it doesn't go well. Psylocke, solo carry. Rocket, coast pick. Scarlet Witch, hit or miss. Either they deal with you or they don't. Spider-Man, hit or miss. Pretty much similar. They deal with you or they don't. It doesn't really matter how good you are. It depends on how good the enemy team is, period. Squirrel Girl, kind of a coast pick. Star-Lord, at this point, you're probably not going to get away with a lot. I'm going to say hit or miss. I don't think that he's bad. Just because I put characters in specific brackets does not mean I say that they suck. I'm just saying, on average, consistency-wise, it really depends on what's going on in the match. And more often than not, Star-Lord will be a hit or miss because players will know how to deal with them. You have to play out your mind. And if you don't, or if the enemy team is better, you're just not going to be able to play the game. You're going to get sniped out the sky. You know, Hulk's going to grab you. Like, just a lot of crazy stuff can happen because... And then if you think about your ultimate, people know how to deal with it. Mag is just going to use it on you. You're not going to be able to play the game. Like, it's very hit or miss for that character. Storm, just outclassed. Unless you have the right team to play with you and they understand how to play with you. Again, a lot of these outclassed characters aren't necessarily bad. It's just the team has to play around you to work. Punisher, hit or miss. If they deal with you, they do. If they don't, then you're free to play the game. Thor, still a coast pick. He's not a carrier or anything, but he can play the game. Most tanks, again, are in this area. Coast pick, Bucky is still broken. Wolverine was definitely still a solo carry. If played well. And again, if you're a Wolverine player at this point, you only play him well. You know what? I'm going to say hit or miss. The thing about hit or miss characters is they can be shut down if the enemy team chooses to shut you down. The thing about the other ranks is that a lot of players do not understand coordination. A lot of players do not understand how to shut down. Maybe you have one player that does, but the other four don't, right? Just everything is just discombobulated with the other ranks. With Eternity and OneAboveAll, I'm telling you guys, if you get here, it is a different game. If you get to this ballpark, and I won't say low Eternity is the same as high Eternity / OneAboveAll, because then once you get there, like maybe 100 to 200 points deep into Eternity, you're going to realize it's a whole different ballgame there. But players understand how to coordinate a lot more. I don't even use comms when I climb, and you guys know this, but they know how to play with me. That type of gameplay only really happens there. And as ranks get shoved down each season, you know, it might appear lower and lower and lower. But for now, I still don't see it much, if at all. There's still issues where people do not answer it. But in Eternity / OneAboveAll, I promise you, a lot of these characters are hit or miss because a lot of players know how to shut them down. It is very easy to shut them down when every player is on board on how to. Black Panther, bro, stun this guy, play the thing. The snipers can snipe. Like, you play things to deal with them. The Hulk's the same. Iron Fist, Loki, destroy the clones. Penny, just wait, destroy the nest, and then move in. Scarlet, like, everybody's on board with how to deal with all these characters. It is not rocket science. So either you are just extremely good, and you get away with it one match, and then the next game, you know, you're still extremely good, but they know how to deal with you, and then you lose. That's like that's your two avenues here. So it's inconsistent, which is why I put them at hit or miss. So it does not mean I think they're bad. It's just the answers are a lot more common when you reach those ranks. Mr. Fantastic, just a coast pick. I never really think that he's a bad pick, but he's not going to solo carry. Invisible Woman, just a coast pick. Human Torch, just kind of outclassed right now. You have to play around him. I don't think that he's bad. I don't think Storm is bad either. But again, you just have to play around them. And most of the time, asking a team to play around you is why. The Thing. Hit or miss. I mean, by this point, you're going to get shut down. There's a lot of things that actually counters his character, believe it or not. There's a lot of answers to him. And by this point, accuracy is higher. Players understand how to play multiple characters. Like, at this point, answers become a lot more frequent to him, and then he just starts falling off after that. Emma, just a good coast pick. Ultron. I realized that we went offline again. So I'll repeat what I said. Again, weather. Things are happening. Mother Nature. So that's why we're having a little bit of lags here and there. But as I said before, I recorded it. So I'm going to put it up if I see any cuts or any issues with the actual final stream. And then I'll just upload that. And then you guys have the full version without the cuts and the issues. But if I see it specifically disconnect, I'll just pause for a second, like I said before. So Ultron's very hit or miss. People know how to play with Ultron. People know how to play a lot slower, but it's the same. People will just shoot you out the sky. You have to have people play around you, or you have to go unanswered, and you go answered a lot of times in these ranks. Phoenix, still a very good solo carry character. Blade, hit or miss. Either you pop off or you don't, man. Angela, good coast pick. Daredevil. Good coast pick. He has more uptime than a lot of these other characters down here. Like Black Panther has to kind of play around cooldowns and run away more frequently. So again, either you pop off or you don't. You will get answered. Your stuff is super telegraphed. Iron Fist can play in the fight a little bit more, but again, he's still kind of window based with his block. And he's very easy movement-wise to track once you know how to do it. The Spider, again, is similar. He can't stay for very long. Daredevil's one of those heroes that can stay in the fight pretty long. Even after his deflect is down, he can kind of just move away for a second and come back. His pressure is high. That's what allows him to coast. Now, if the team sucks, he's going to get dumpstered. And he moves to hit or miss. But I just say he's coast because if your team is pretty decent, or at least on average, you should still be able to play the game and still be able to pop off pretty consistently, regardless of what answers they may have for that character. Gambit. And again, just kind of a really good solo carry character for a strat. Rogue. So the real answer to Rogue is the Thing. I'm gonna be honest. But if the Thing is banned, she doesn't really have an answer. This one's hard. By this point, you know how to play Rogue. I'm going to say a good Rogue is really oppressive. And you'll be able to put a lot of impact into a match. if played right. Hmm. The thing is, though, the inconsistency, she can just mess up and just ruin everything. I'm going to put her down to coast picks. If your team is decent, she can play the game a lot more. If they're horrible, she actually probably will struggle quite a bit. But she's not hit or miss. It's not really based off if they answer her. It's more about based off the, is your team horrible or not? And then Deadpool, just hit or miss right now. As I said before, I'm not going to rank all his roles, but I do think he has the potential to carry super, super hard. Even if he is answered, he's still really good. But just because the players aren't necessarily consistent with him yet, he's only been out for a couple of days. It's very unfair to put this guy anywhere near the top of any list because he hasn't been out long enough for anybody to even understand how to play him or against him. So as time goes by, we'll be able to tell. But his kit is so diverse that it's hard to really put him anywhere. Like, it's not a very simple kit like Angela, for instance. But should a Daredevil be a good Daredevil? Should a Deadpool be good? I do think that he goes into coast picks pretty easily. I myself have been playing a lot of Deadpool, and that's where I would put him. But just on average of the entire player base. Well, if you're Eternity or OneAboveAll, though, you should definitely know how to play Daredevil or Deadpool. Jesus Christ, Deadpool. I'm gonna put him in coast picks just because. Just because. If I think that he deserves to be there, and these are elite players, they should be able to play him just as good as me, so, or just as well, or better if they have him lured and things like that. I think he has a pretty solid space on all three roles, and I think some of the roles have played to perfection, straight up carry matches, without a doubt. But average Eternity OneAboveAll players, they're not all solo carry monsters, right? You can get there being a boomer, aka myself, and I don't consider my Daredevil to be, oh my god, Deadpool to be at a solo carry level, regardless if I know how to play him or not, because I'm not, that's not my playstyle. I'm not a heavy mechanical player. I don't play like that. I play based off smarts, not based off button pressing. So, this is where I think things are. Actually, I just realized I put Magic there. I don't think Magic is a solo carry at these ranks. I'm trolling. What? I don't know why I put her there. I think she's a coast pick. Actually, I lied. Bro, she's hit or miss. Why did I put her there? I'm just biased. She's hit or miss here. I'm trolling. When you get to Eternity OneAboveAll, bro, they can handle a Magic. That becomes, again, one of those things where does the enemy team know how to answer you? And 9 times out of 10, they will. This rank plays a whole host of characters, and they will play whatever they need to play to answer whatever threat there is. Very rarely is a character just getting picked and not answered. I don't know what, I just like, that was weird. I don't even think about it. So either she pops off or she doesn't. She gets shut down pretty easily by good players. Solo carries are generally the ones that are prominent almost all the time, and it's very hard to answer them. Coast picks are characters that are generally pretty good if the team is decent. They provide a lot of value. It's just the team has to be on board. Hit or miss are characters that are either you answer them or you don't. If you don't, these characters run wild. If you do, well, then they're just garbage. And Outclass, it just requires the team to have to play around you, and it's just not worth it's just not worth playing them if you have to play around you. I don't know. I don't use comms, so I typically don't even care about what my team picks. But I just know that whenever I play Cap, I know for a fact when it starts to get to that point where it's like I'm forcing them to play out of their comfort zone, and I'm just like, all right, that's not really what. You'll probably see it. If you guys watch an actual true Cap one trick that only plays Cap and he's made it there, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. And he'll probably have to talk to people consistently because the way that he plays is just very window based. And that's just how I think all these characters are. Is there more of like, you need to have your team have understanding that you're in the game. Otherwise, you're probably going to get taken out or run over, period. So this is our list for that. As I said, I know we're having connection issues. So if you guys had a few spurts and bubbles and things like that, I'm going to check the feedback afterward just to see if it's super, super laggy or if it's choppy. If like YouTube, because if you do lag, YouTube will cut out that portion and just splice two together. If I see any of that choppiness, I'll upload the full replay. I'll upload it to YouTube and you guys can see the actual recording. Other than that, is there, and then, yeah, that'll be the list. But these are my my list. We'll go over it once more so you guys can see. I'm gonna take this off. So this is the bronze to diamond list. We have the solo carries, coach picks, hit or miss, outclass. Right? And as I said, I will make a shorter video so you guys can get more of a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more of an explanation. Not crazy, but just something a little bit more tangible. But I'm just kind of briefly skimming them. This is the Grandmaster to Celestial list. Right? And then this will be the Eternity to OneAboveAll list. Okay, so that is where we are for season 6.0. I don't know what crazy changes we'll have for 6.6, but you guys know I make a tier list every single time, and I also will read those patch notes once they come out live. How many days do we have left? Can we see within the... Oh, you can't see it because I don't have it unlocked. Well, that sucks. Can you see off the battle pass? Kinda. Is it every 30 days? We have 60 days, so it should be 30, right? Is it like 20 days left? 20 something days left? I'm trying to remember what I saw. I think it's like 20 something days left. So that will be the next time we have the patch notes. And then a week from then, when we play, I like to get experience hands-on, and then I make a tier list afterward. So maybe a week from the patch drop date, we'll have the next patch notes. I wanted to stream today, but we keep having issues. So I don't know if I want to stream today and have a whole bunch of lag popping off. I guess I'm going to see what the replay looks like, and then I'll see if it's worth streaming or not. Maybe we just won't stream today. Kind of sad, because I wanted to stream today. But it's still acting up. Anyway, I'm going to get off because it is still acting up. Until next time. You know what I always say. Thank you guys for watching, of course, and thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Will often. Peace, peace. Late. I am sorry for the disconnections and all that extra stuff. Mother Nature's just... It's a dangerous game. Have a good rest of your day or night, and I will talk to you guys later. I might stream later if the stream isn't acting up. Peace, peace. Late.